What's going on, guys? It's Fight Season MMA, and today I want to talk about the recent MMA Twitter beef between Belal Muhammad and Kamaru Usman. These two have been going back and forth. Belal Muhammad going out there and saying that he's better all time than Kamaru Usman, and Kamaru Usman telling Belal Muhammad that he was reigning the welterweight division before he was even in the top 15. If you guys enjoy the UFC content, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and please help us reach 1,000 subscribers. We're on the road there right now. We're doing really good, so please go down there and hit the subscribe button. It's free, and 97.2% of my viewers who watch my videos aren't subscribed. So please go down there and hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there, turn on the post notifications button because it always helps to always get notified whenever I drop UFC content and news. But let's jump right into the video of the Belal Muhammad versus Kamaru Usman Twitter beef and breaking down every little bit of it. Okay, so there have been so many different back and forths since Belal Muhammad has been the champion. He is actually being a very incredible character right now in the championship division. He's beefed with Alexander Volkanovski already. He's beefed with Colby Covington already. And now he's beefing with Kamaru Usman, who's in his division. Belal Muhammad is kind of deciding who he wants as the next title challenger in the 170-pound division, and he says that there isn't a rightful challenger, and I'm gonna be honest, that is sort of kind of correct. Now, I do think that Shavkat Rakhmonov should get the title shot because he did beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but that isn't the greatest name to go in there and beat prior to getting a title shot. Not saying he shouldn't get it, but if he beats someone like Kamaru Usman, there's no denying Shavkat Rakhmonov. And Kamaru Usman lost his last 3 fights, that being to Khamzat Chimaev and Leon Edwards twice, but I did think that second Leon Edwards fight, Kamaru was winning pretty handily until he lost in that 5th round by head kick. And in that 3rd fight, I think that was an over-the-edge Kamaru Usman. In the Khamzat Chimaev fight, it was only 3 rounds, and I do think Kamaru Usman could have won that fight in a 5-round war. But let's get into the Twitter beef. First off, Kamaru Usman said, "All right, enough of the nice guy. You were never chasing me, bum. You were barely in the rankings when I dominated the division. FYI, I have a win over Leon Sun," where Belal Muhammad replied, "Dominated the division," laughing emoji. "You beat Masvidal twice and went to the cardio kickboxing war with Colby Covington. Colby sucks in brackets. You were protected by the UFC, and now you can barely walk. Your podcast sucks, and your part of Black Panther sucked." Now, this is just Belal going at him and just talking about Kamaru Usman's, his life and different aspects of that. We all know that Kamaru Usman's title reign, he beat Tyron Woodley, defended against Colby Covington twice, defended against Jorge Masvidal twice, and defended against Gilbert Burns once. And I think that Kamaru Usman's title reign was actually pretty impressive, considering that Gilbert Burns fight was really, really good. He knocked out Masvidal in the 2nd round, which was really impressive, and he knocked out Colby Covington in a war in that 1st fight. So Belal Muhammad saying Colby sucks is a very different thing, because I do think Colby Covington is not the best fighter right now, but if we look at that fight, I don't know what number, 245 maybe, that was a very close war when that went down in UFC Vegas, I think at UFC 245, but going on to another tweet that they had between each other, Kamaru Usman said, "Whoa, glad you watched me in Black Panther. Unfortunately, no one wants to watch you fight, much less put you in a movie." And Belal Muhammad absolutely killed Kamaru Usman with his reply. He said, "A laughing emoji, laughing emoji, laughing emoji. You were a background character in a movie about fighting. They must have seen your striking and decided no fight scenes." That is absolutely insane for Belal Muhammad to say, because I do think Kamaru Usman's striking is pretty good, but Belal is going in there and riding this high wave that he just beat Leon Edwards in a very dominant fight in very dominant fashion, to where Kamaru Usman lost this fight with Leon, and that Belal is the champion. Now, I do think that there is possibly a fight down the road for this to happen, because this fight for the UFC would be something that would be absolutely massive. Shavkat Rakhmonov doesn't really talk. He doesn't really do anything. He's just an absolute savage when he goes in the octagon. He goes in there to absolutely murk individuals. That's what you've seen against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Jeff Neal, and Neil Magny. Goes in there to absolutely kill people. And you look at Kamaru Usman, who is one of the best welterweights of all time and has a legacy behind him in that welterweight division. If you look at the all-time welterweight rankings, it's got to be Georges St. Pierre and then Kamaru Usman after him. There's really no other way to, say that. And I don't think Tyron Woodley's over him. Leon Edwards is definitely not over him. And obviously Belal Muhammad isn't over him. But I do think that fight with Kamaru Usman would be a bigger fight for the promotion, because I don't think a lot of individuals know how dangerous and how amazing Shavkat Rakhmonov is outside as a casual in the MMA community. Now, as me, I would love to see Shavkat fight Belal, because that is the fight to make. Shavkat is one of the most entertaining fighters in the UFC division, in the UFC organization, my fault. just because of how he goes in there and goes and strives to get the finish every single time he fights inside the octagon. 18 finishes, no losses, and 18 wins. Shavkat Rakhmonov is an absolute monster, but Kamaru Usman does have that background, has that legacy behind him, does have those fights with Leon Edwards, has the fights with Colby Covington, and has this war, this Twitter beef with Belal Muhammad to really stack up and make a case for him to get the title. Now, the only reason I could see Kamaru Usman getting the title, or the justification, is he flew to Abu Dhabi in 10 days' notice to take a fight against Kamaru Usman, or I meant to take a fight against Khamzat Chimaev, where Kamaru Usman had to go up in weight to 185 and fight Chimaev there, who had a full training camp on 10 days' notice, and he almost beat Chimaev, which I think showed that there was a lot of chinks in Chimaev's armor, just quote unquote. But I do think Kamaru Usman, if that's the only reason, I think you can justify a title shot, but I still do think it should be Shavkat Rakhmonov. But I do think a title shot for Usman would be very, very, very interesting to show, considering that Belal Muhammad and him are going back and forth. Now, I think that Belal Muhammad wants the Usman shot more than the Shavkat shot, and I would understand that completely. Kamaru Usman's a little over his prime. He's having trouble walking because of those wrestling days prior. There's stories about how Kamaru Usman has to walk downstairs backwards. When he's walking on the sidewalk, he has to walk in the grass next to it because he can't, his knees don't have the cartilage and the support that that they used to have. So I don't even know how Kamaru Usman fights still. I don't know how he's training all the time, but truly, I think there's some wear and tear on Kamaru Usman's body, and considering after that head kick from Leon Edwards, he's done the correct thing and taken some time off the UFC octagon. That third fight against Leon, was very quick there right after, which is absolutely insane to see, because that was a very quick turnaround for someone who got that traumatically KO'd by Leon Edwards. But I do think that the taking that time off to fight Khamzat Chimaev, which was a good fight, I did think, but then now almost a year off without a fight announcement is a good thing for Kamaru Usman to rest. So I do think that a possible fight between Belal Muhammad and Kamaru Usman definitely could happen, although I do think that for the justification standpoint of who really deserves it, it's Shavkat Rakhmonov. But for the money standpoint of the UFC organization, I can 100% see Kamaru Usman getting that title shot against Belal Muhammad. There's storyline behind it, there's beef behind it, and I think it genuinely would be a good fight. If I had to make a very early prediction, I think Belal Muhammad wins that fight. I think it's just because of Kamaru Usman being a little bit out of the realm, although Kamaru Usman would be one of the harder fights in the welterweight division for someone like Belal Muhammad because of that wrestling background he possesses, and that would really have to put Belal in a striking game. But I do think that Belal would be able to get in there and show his wrestling against Kamaru and be able to do certain things that a lot of other fighters wouldn't be able to do. But that's ultimately my decision. I do think that this Twitter beef between Kamaru Usman and Belal Muhammad is incredibly funny, and I do think that this could possibly lead to a fight between the two individuals down the road, sometime maybe in November or December or January of next year. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please let me know what you think about this Kamaru Usman versus Belal Muhammad Twitter beef. Do you think it's interesting? Do you think that this could possibly lead to a fight down the road between these two individuals? And how do you think that fight would go if you really did think it would happen? Please drop a comment down below, and I will do my best to respond to the comments as much as possible. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and please help us on the road to 1,000 subscribers. That would help me so much, especially growing this channel to make MMA content daily. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Fight Season MMA, and I will catch you guys very soon with more UFC content and news.